The Phantom of the Depths, the Glacial Glass Squid. In January 2025, at 687 meters below the frozen surface of the Bellingshausen Sea near Antarctica, a robotic vehicle descended slowly through absolute darkness. The water was so cold it could freeze human blood in seconds. The pressure at that depth would crush a human skull like paper. And then, in the black abyss, something impossible appeared. A ghost, a transparent apparition floating in the void. Marine scientist Tom Lindley, watching the screens from the research vessel Falkor, could barely believe it. After more than a century since its scientific discovery, after decades of polar expeditions, they were finally seeing what no human had ever witnessed. The Galiteuthis glacialis, the glacial glass squid, alive in its world. And it was absolutely terrifying. For over 100 years, this creature existed only as dead specimens dragged up by nets from the Antarctic depths. Scientists knew it was down there, somewhere in the Southern Ocean, but no one had ever seen it moving. No one had ever witnessed how it hunted, how it moved, how it existed in that alien realm of crushing pressure and eternal darkness, until now. And what those images revealed would change our understanding of life in the deep forever. This is the story of the last ghost of the Antarctic seas, a creature that defies our understanding of what it means to be alive, a transparent predator that exists at the very limit of what is biologically possible, and a survivor from a prehistoric world that shows us that the ocean depths hold secrets we're only beginning to understand.
English, the birth of a ghost. To understand the glacial glass squid, we must travel back in time, long before humans existed, long before dinosaurs walked the earth. Approximately 500 million years ago, in the Cambrian period, the first cephalopods appeared. They were simple creatures with straight shells and primitive bodies, but they had something special. A body plan that would evolve into that of modern squids, octopuses, and nautiluses. For millions of years, these ancestral cephalopods dominated the seas with their protective shells. But then, about 100 million years ago, during the Cretaceous period, something extraordinary happened. Squids began to lose their external shells. It was a massive evolutionary gamble. Without the protective armor that had defended their ancestors for hundreds of millions of years, these new squids were vulnerable, but they were also free. Free to move faster, free to compress their bodies, free to escape from predators in ways that no shelled creature could match. Recent discoveries using a technique called digital fossil mining have revealed that squids already dominated the oceans 100 million years ago, much earlier than we thought. They outnumbered and outsized ammonites, their shelled cousins, and many bony fish. They were the pioneers of the fast, intelligent swimmers that would dominate modern oceans. It was in this evolutionary crucible that the family Cranchiidae, the glass squids, was born approximately 87 million years ago. These were not ordinary squids. They evolved a survival strategy so radical, so extreme, that it would make them some of the strangest creatures on the planet. They would become invisible. English, the Architect of Invisibility. Imagine being so transparent that light passes through your body as if you were air. Imagine that your muscles, your skin, your internal organs, everything becomes crystalline. That's exactly what Galiteuthis glacialis did.
It doesn't have the solid opacity of other squids. Its mantle, its tentacles, even parts of its arms are almost completely transparent. It's as if it were made of liquid glass, of living gelatin that barely interrupts the passage of light. But absolute transparency is biologically impossible. There are parts that cannot hide. The eyes, for example. Those enormous structures necessary to capture the slightest spark of light in the darkness of the deep ocean. And in the glacial glass squid, the eyes are immense, adapted to see in conditions where virtually no sunlight reaches. They are the windows to this creature's soul, and also its only visible vulnerability. English. The Architect of Invisibility. Imagine being so transparent that light passes through your body as if you were air. Imagine that your muscles, your skin, your internal organs, everything becomes crystalline. That's exactly what Galiteuthis glacialis did. It doesn't have the solid opacity of other squids. Its mantle, its tentacles, even parts of its arms are almost completely transparent. It's as if it were made of liquid glass, of living gelatin that barely interrupts the passage of light. But absolute transparency is biologically impossible. There are parts that cannot hide. The eyes, for example. Those enormous structures necessary to capture the slightest spark of light in the darkness of the deep ocean. And in the glacial glass squid, the eyes are immense, adapted to see in conditions where virtually no sunlight reaches. They are the windows to this creature's soul, and also its only visible vulnerability.
This is where evolution becomes truly ingenious. Just below those eyes, Galiteuthis glacialis possesses specialized organs called photophores. They are small biological light factories. At the precise moment when a predator looks up from the dark depths, searching for telltale silhouettes against the faint light filtering from the surface, these photophores light up. They emit a carefully calibrated bioluminescence that exactly matches the ambient light from above. The eyes no longer cast a shadow. The creature disappears. This technique is called counter-illumination, and it's one of the most sophisticated adaptations of the deep ocean. It's active camouflage. The squid reads the available light, adjusts its own light production to match, and becomes invisible to anything looking up. It's like a biological stealth aircraft designed by millions of years of evolutionary pressure. The only fully visible organ is its digestive gland, similar to a liver, cigar-shaped. And still, the squid keeps this organ in an upright position, minimizing its silhouette. It's an impeccable design for survival in a world where being seen means death. The world beneath the ice. The home of Galiteuthis glacialis is one of the most hostile places on Earth. The Southern Ocean surrounds Antarctica like a ring of frozen, stormy water. It's the coldest ocean on the planet, where temperatures can drop below 0 degrees Celsius without the water freezing due to its salinity. The surface is frequently covered by icebergs the size of cities that break off from Antarctic ice shelves. But the true home of the glacial glass squid is not at the surface. It's in the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones, between 500 and 2,500 meters deep. This is the realm of perpetual twilight and absolute darkness. At these depths, the pressure is 50 to 250 times atmospheric pressure at sea level. It's enough to crush a poorly designed submarine like a soda can. In this abyss, there is no sunlight.
Photosynthesis is impossible. No plants, no coral reefs, only a constant rain of marine snow, the organic remains that slowly fall from the upper layers of the ocean. And in this darkness, there exists an alien ecosystem fueled not by the sun, but by bioluminescence and extreme adaptation. The water is so cold it reduces the metabolism of all creatures living in it. Everything moves slower here. Hunting requires infinite patience. Food is scarce. A squid can go weeks without eating. The water pressure is so immense that the normal biochemistry of life must be rewritten. Proteins fold differently. Cell membranes require special lipid compositions to maintain their flexibility. Even the water inside cells is under extreme pressure.
And yet, Galiteuthis glacialis thrives here. It doesn't just survive, it thrives. It has conquered this frozen, dark hell with a series of adaptations so astonishing they seem taken from science fiction. The chemical float. One of the most extraordinary adaptations of the glacial glass squid is its buoyancy system. In the deep ocean, maintaining position in the water column without sinking or floating is a constant challenge. Fish have gas-filled swim bladders. Nautiluses have chambers in their shells. But Galiteuthis glacialis has found a different solution, a chemical solution that is as brilliant as it is strange. Inside its transparent mantle, the squid has an enormous coulombic cavity that occupies approximately 2/3 of its body volume. This cavity is not filled with air or gas, it's filled with a special liquid. And that liquid is a concentrated solution of ammonia. Ammonia is a waste product of protein metabolism. For most animals, it's toxic and must be eliminated quickly. But squids of the family Cranchiidae have evolved the ability to retain enormous amounts of ammonia in this specialized chamber. Why? Because ammonia is less dense than seawater. By replacing the heavy sodium ions of seawater with light ammonium ions, the squid creates a low-density liquid that provides buoyancy. Scientific research has shown that this ammonia chamber can reach concentrations close to 500 millimolar. It's a liquid buoyancy system that has a crucial advantage over gas bladders. It doesn't change volume with pressure. At 500 or 2,500 meters deep, the volume remains constant. This means the squid can move vertically through enormous pressure ranges without needing to constantly adjust its buoyancy, as fish with swim bladders would. The cost of this system is significant. Having 2/3 of your body occupied by a buoyancy chamber means less space for muscles. Glass squids are slow swimmers compared to their more muscular cousins. But in the depths, where vision is limited and hunting is based on patience, speed is not as crucial as energy efficiency. The squid floats effortlessly, moving slowly with its fins, conserving every precious calorie. Vertical migrations, the daily journey. Galiteuthis glacialis doesn't remain static in the depths. It performs diel vertical migrations, one of the largest movements of biomass on the planet. During the day, juveniles live in the epipelagic and mesopelagic zones between 200 and 400 meters deep. When night falls, they ascend to 200 to 300 meters. Adults live deeper, between 500 and 2,500 meters, but also participate in these migrations, although on a smaller scale. Why this vertical journey of hundreds of meters each day? The answer lies in food and survival. During the night, zooplankton and small crustaceans ascend to more shallow waters to feed on phytoplankton that needs sunlight. The glacial glass squid follows them, hunting in the darkness of night when the risk of being seen by predators is minimal. When the sun threatens to rise, it descends again to the safe depths. There's also a seasonal pattern. In Antarctic summer, when surface waters warm slightly and their salinity decreases, mature squids prefer to remain below this warmer, less saline layer. In autumn, when conditions change, they venture into shallower waters. This vertical dance is orchestrated by environmental signals, temperature, salinity, and light, which have been encoded in the squid's genes for millions of years.
The phantom hunter. Despite its delicate appearance and slow movement, Galiteuthis glacialis is an efficient predator. Its main prey are mesopelagic crustaceans, catagnoths, and small fish that inhabit the same depths. These animals are often so scarce that finding one can be a rare event. The squid hunts through ambush and patience. Its transparency is its best weapon. It floats motionless in the water column, almost invisible. Its enormous eyes constantly scan the environment, detecting the slightest bioluminescence, the faintest movement. When prey approaches close enough, the squid strikes with its two long tentacles, which are equipped with sharp hooks at their ends.
These hooks are hard, chitinous structures like retractable claws. They latch onto the prey's body, holding it firmly. The squid's 8 shorter arms wrap around the victim, controlling it, while the sharp beak, hidden in the center of the arms, opens. This beak, similar to a parrot's but much more lethal, cuts the prey into pieces small enough to be swallowed. The process is silent, efficient, deadly. In a world where every calorie counts, Galiteuthis glacialis cannot afford mistakes. A failed hunt can mean days or weeks without food, but its transparency gives it an advantage that few predators possess. It's the killer you never see coming. The cockatoo posture. One of the most fascinating observations from the first live video of Galiteuthis glacialis was its posture. In the footage taken at 687 meters deep, the squid maintained its arms loose above its head in what scientists call the cockatoo posture. This position, commonly observed in other glass squids, has multiple possible functions. First, it minimizes the animal's silhouette when viewed from below, making it even more difficult to detect. Second, it may be a resting position that conserves energy while the squid floats. Third, it could be an ambush position, with the arms ready to quickly wrap around any prey that passes too close. Scientists are still debating the exact meaning of this posture, but it's clearly an important part of the squid's behavior.
Pressure, oxygen, and the biochemistry of the abyss. Living under 50 to 250 atmospheres of pressure is not trivial. At these depths, water pressure is so immense it affects every aspect of the squid's biology. Normal proteins would denature, cell membranes would become rigid, metabolic processes would slow to a halt. But Galiteuthis glacialis has evolved specific molecular adaptations. Its proteins have slightly modified amino acid sequences that make them more resistant to pressure. Its cell membranes contain special proportions of unsaturated fatty acids that maintain fluidity even under extreme pressure. Some scientists have discovered that certain enzymes in deep water creatures function better under high pressure than at normal atmospheric pressures. It's as if these creatures were optimized for a world we consider uninhabitable.
Oxygen is another challenge. Cold water can hold more dissolved oxygen than warm water, but in the depths where circulation is limited, oxygen can be scarce. The glacial glass squid has developed an efficient metabolism that requires less oxygen than its shallow water cousins. It moves slowly, it conserves energy, it lives in slow motion compared to warm water squids. Recent research has shown that bioluminescence in deep water organisms may serve not only for communication and camouflage,
but also as an antioxidant system, helping to combat oxidative stress generated by high pressure. It's possible that Galiteuthis glacialis uses its bioluminescence in this way too, although more research is needed to confirm it. The life cycle from light to darkness. The life cycle of Galiteuthis glacialis is a journey from light toward the deepest darkness. Paralarvae, the newly hatched offspring, live in the upper epipelagic and mesopelagic layers between 300 and 400 meters during the day, ascending to 200 to 300 meters at night. They have a more muscular, leathery texture than adults. They're more active swimmers, needing to escape from the numerous predators that inhabit shallower waters. As they grow and become early juveniles, they continue this migratory pattern. Studies have shown that paralarvae are between 47 and 85 days old when captured, with growth rates of 0.13 to 0.25 millimeters of dorsal mantle length per day. Early juveniles are between 85 and 103 days old, with slightly faster growth rates. But when they reach maturity, they descend. Adults live in the lower mesopelagic and bathopelagic zones, between 500 and 2,500 meters. At these depths, their body becomes more gelatinous, less muscular. They no longer need the escape speed of their youth. Here, in the almost complete darkness, they become completely transparent, perfecting their invisibility. Reproduction is a single terminal event. Like all cephalopods, Galiteuthis glacialis reproduces only once in its life and then dies. This phenomenon is called semelparity. Females spawn in the bathopelagic depths, releasing their eggs in a single batch. It's a process called synchronous ovulation. After spawning, females experience massive tissue degeneration. Their muscles break down. Their body becomes more buoyant. They begin to ascend toward the surface uncontrollably. This phenomenon explains why mature females of Galiteuthis glacialis are sometimes found floating near the surface in the Weddell Sea, even under the ice. They are post-reproductive survivors who are slowly dying as they ascend toward the light they will never consciously see again. It's a melancholy and beautiful ending for a creature that has spent its entire life in darkness.
Predators and prey, the polar web of life. Although Galiteuthis glacialis plays an important role within its natural environment, it is not at the top of the ecological balance. It is part of a complex web of life where different species interact with one another. Black-browed albatrosses and gray-headed albatrosses often take advantage of the presence of these squids when they approach the ocean's surface. They are more commonly associated with adult individuals than juveniles, likely due to their larger size and higher energetic value. Since these birds cannot dive to great depths, they rely on squids that rise during nighttime hours or on females that remain near the surface after completing their reproductive cycle. Southern elephant seals are also part of this natural balance, although their interaction with Galiteuthis glacialis is relatively limited. Research shows that they interact equally with males and females with a preference for adult individuals. Their ability to descend beyond 2,000 meters and remain underwater for extended periods allows them to function effectively even in the deepest regions of the ocean.
Ice fish, native to the Southern Ocean, also feed on these squids. Digested parts of Galiteuthis glacialis have been found in their stomachs. These fish have their own adaptations for extreme cold, including antifreeze proteins in their blood. The squid, in turn, feeds on what's available. It's an opportunistic feeder. Its likely prey are mesopelagic zooplankton that feeds on organic matter falling from above. Crustaceans like copepods and amphipods, Galiteuthis, those strange arrow-shaped predators, small fish that inhabit the same depths. The strategy is simple. Eat what you can find when you find it, because you don't know when you'll eat again. The discovery of the century. For over 100 years, since it was scientifically described by Carl Chun in 1906, Galiteuthis glacialis was a mystery. Scientists only had dead specimens brought up from the ocean floor by trawl nets. They knew what it looked like after death. They knew where it lived, but they had never seen how it moved, how it hunted, how it existed in its natural element. That changed in January 2025. The RV Falkor 2 from the Schmidt Ocean Institute was exploring waters near the Antarctic Peninsula after an iceberg the size of Chicago broke off from the George VI ice shelf. The ROV Sebastian, a remotely operated vehicle, was descending slowly when Dr. Tom Lindley, a deep-water expert from the Museum of New Zealand Te Papa Tongarewa, saw something on the screens. "I know it's a cute little squid, but this could be important," he recalled saying. He contacted his colleague, Dr. Kat Bolstad, an expert on giant squids. They also consulted Dr. Aaron Evans, a specialist in the glass squid family. Together, they confirmed what they were seeing. At 687 meters deep, in the Cockatoo posture, floated a live Galiteuthis glacialis. The video was brief, but revolutionary. It showed the squid suspended in the darkness, its internal organs barely visible through its transparent mantle, its arms extended gracefully above its head. It was the first time in history that humanity had witnessed this creature in its home. It was like finding a ghost and discovering that it was real. Only a few weeks later, the same team would capture the first confirmed video of a juvenile colossal squid, the giant relative of Galiteuthis glacialis. Both species, separated by size, united by their Glacialis family, had finally been filmed in their natural habitat after decades of searching. Darkness. The story of Galiteuthis glacialis is far from over. In fact, we're just beginning to read it. Each expedition to the Antarctic depths reveals new mysteries. How do these squids communicate with each other in the darkness? Do they use bioluminescent patterns as a language? How long do they live? How do they find mates in the vastness of the ocean? And then there are the bigger questions. How many species of glass squids still await discovery in the unexplored depths? What other amazing adaptations have evolved in these animals we're only beginning to study? But the future of Galiteuthis glacialis is not guaranteed. Climate change is warming the waters of the Southern Ocean. Ocean acidification is altering the chemistry of the water. And there's a new threat on the horizon: deep-sea mining. The seafloor contains nodules of precious minerals needed for modern technologies. Extracting them would release plumes of sediment and wastewater that would cloud the twilight zone of the ocean. Glass squids depend on their vision and the clarity of the water. Many deep-water creatures communicate through bioluminescence. Mining would cause massive underwater noise and contaminate sediments. Scientists don't yet know how severely this could impact